Totally impromptu. I'm like, I'm just stream. I wanted to just stream. Um, few subjects I want to talk about, or was it really one? I thought it was something else. Some weird shit, just some weird celebrity shit I have seen. What was the other thing? It was one thing with this damn David story, which is fucked up. But there was another crazy story. I thought I can't fucking think of it. God damn it! It slipped my mind. Just fucking slip. I hate when shit does that. Call it stream brain. Hopefully, while I'm streaming, I can remember. Jesus, what was the story? It involved some celebrity with some weird shit. I mean, shit. I could talk about the Davis story, and I never even heard of this guy. He's a musician named David. Apparently, blew up off TikTok. Um, there's this young girl, not even a woman. They found in his. They found dead and decomposed in his Tesla that was abandoned somewhere. And by the looks of it, looks like he was dealing with this girl while she was super. I mean, she was only 15, depending on when she died. More than likely 14. She had been missing for over a year. There's pictures from her from a few years ago. Looks like she was interacting with this guy. They had matching tattoos. Her mother said she had a boyfriend named David. So it looks like she was dating this so-called TikTok singer, and I guess was on tour, but huge age gap. I mean, he's like 19, 20. She's 15, 14, 13, whatever the fuck. And we know now, she's dead. She had been missing for a year, so that's a crazy story. I'm not sure if they, who knows with these fucking celebrities, whether they prosecute anything. Another ancillary story to keep compounding this Charlie Kirk thing. I've never seen anything like this, man. I'm not trying to be disparaging to the brother at all. Um, and I guess it's just the fervor of the political thing. But they're going to try to use this to impede free speech, and it just shows how unprincipled Republicans are that they're going to allow it and even encourage it. They're going to try to use this as a means of they become the cancel culture. They are cancel culture, and because so many of them still don't realize there's a uniparty, they say such stupid things. You ask about the Epstein list. Oh, oh, but if they would have released it on Trump, no, motherfucker, it's one party, you dumbass, and it's so. The fucking psyop of the late 2000s into the pandemic worked so well, such a big part of the right. When they think the left is this major thing, they don't realize all the corporations are aligned with the right now, or this quote unquote right. It's just a game. It's a fucking game, and now they're going to get rid of free speech, something that, ironically enough, Charlie Kirk wouldn't have wanted. Um, and so just that's the goal. And of course, the right doesn't give a shit because they think everybody's right versus left. What they don't realize, and what the political minded idiot doesn't realize, is 90% of people don't give a shit about politics. 90%, all due respect, 90% of the motherfuckers didn't know who this guy was 10 days ago. And it's so obvious that the feds are involved. I don't even know why they're taking the main story to heart. And then I say that they're really not, because they don't acknowledge the fucking killer at all. They acknowledge anything but the killer. It's just like, all right, man, cool. Well, they're going to destroy the country for this, so cool beans. Now we don't have free speech. Now we're England. You're so liberty minded. Now we're fucking England because we don't have free speech for a guy who fought for free speech. So thank you for that. Thank you for fucking up his memory. But you don't give a shit, because as long as you can perform and get clout, because that's all this shit's about. Who cares? Who the fuck cares? Perform for clout. That's what politics are about. So there's that. So that's why, not too happy about that. And I hope there's some sensible, but I mean, I don't see anything stopping it. Unfortunately, they've been wondering. The left had its chance to get rid of free speech, and they did a lot of things to get rid of free speech, and now we're seeing the right do the same thing, and both felt justified in it. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Another thing that's happened on both sides get doom and gloom, and then it doesn't go as bad. But that's going to be a consequence of fallout. They already want to impede free speech for criticism of a certain country in the Middle East, which we don't really want to talk too much about, given the circumstances the past week. Because I feel like that criticism of that country can, listen, I don't really like criticizing that country. I hate the blame game. Everything's wrong with the world. It's this country and it's this people. But I really do not like that. I'm not a fan of that, and I don't even believe that. But you do have to um, acknowledge when things are fucked up. So all that said, we can talk about whatever. I'm trying to still remember the other story I had in my mind outside that damn David story or whatever that singer's name is. And if anybody's in the chat, feel free to hit like, share, sub, talk, scream. I know I'm ranting about a lot of stuff. And if you're if you're super partisan, you'll think, I'm sure right or left, I've already pissed you off. So if you ain't got no common sense, if you just let people tell you how to think politically, which I hate, I keep saying I hate it, but it's just unfortunately that's the thing I see it destroying people, man. Like I say, attacking free speech is horrifying, man. Really attacking free speech is just horrifying. But it is what it is. All you can do is pray, use free speech while we got it, and both sides have had their chance over in recent years. We definitely saw the left do their anti-free speech, and now it's the right's turn. I just hope they don't put none on law. I hope they don't create no hate speech laws. I don't want this to be England, where you can go to jail for what you say, especially in this goofy ass political climate. I don't want to go to jail for liking certain reels and shit like that. Hey, Cloud. Run, Cloud. Run. No, whatever the fuck Sephiroth said. Which I need to finish that game. I appreciate you being here, Cloud. I need to finish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I never did, and I will. I need, maybe just off stream. But Hollywood's a crazy place. Going back to that David story. God damn, what was the other fucking story I saw? Oh, fuck it. But that story, man. Like this, I never even heard it. Speaking of not hearing about motherfuckers, I never heard this David fucker. Never heard this guy. And the fucking, because of everything else going on, no one pays attention to, just like people say it's a distraction from the Epstein. So much other shit has been going on. You have the fucking school shooters. It seems like everything's going on. And meanwhile, this fucking no-name celebrity has a fucking dead 15-year-old this test, or a 14-year-old, because she might have died before her birthday. Dead this fucking Tesla, and nobody's, I don't even know if there's an investigation about this shit. It's like, what the fuck is going on? And like I said, I've never heard of this motherfucker. I don't know if apparently his songs aren't talking about potentially having killed this young lady. It's like all sorts of weird shit. It's like, is the police gonna do anything about this fucker, guy? Killed this girl who was 13, 14. She had been missing since last year. And they found her dead in the trunk. And I mean, nobody's fucking talking about it. Granted, he's a A-list celebrity, but still, it's like just because of this whole fucking they will not let go of this Charlie Kirk story. Both sides of the quote unquote same political demon bird, right and left wing, won't let go of this. No other story getting publicized. This story is going right under the fucking radar. It's like, holy shit. And again, I don't know who this kid is, but like, is this the only young lady he was dealing with? Is this the only young lady this guy's put down? And are you going to investigate? And who knows? Who knows? And maybe, if you guys don't know about the story, I apologize. And the kids, it's David, but it's like a 4 or some shit like that. D4 AD or some shit, or I forgot how you spell it. It's kind of a funky spelling. And yeah, the story's just totally under the fucking radar. No one's even talking about it. No one cares. No one cares. The clout button and the hot button topic is put Charlie Kirk in the title, which that's why I don't put anything in the title. I'm not gonna put the subjects in the title. The man is already passed on. Why exploit this guy? You know what I mean? Everybody's in a rush to exploit this guy, this guy's death. It's like, man, this I'm sad, saddened as just a fellow internet shit talker, but like I just I kind of I'm at a point where I really want to move on. Hey, Gomer, hey, long time no see, triple extra OG. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being here. And Dave Ron Euro saying hi. Appreciate y'all saying hi. Sorry, it's no visual. I could put on the mask and hop on screen, I guess. I'm still laying down. I work afternoons. I really should be asleep, but I couldn't sleep. And I figured I would just stream. And so I'm just ranting, talking. I listen, just don't talk much anymore. I appreciate it, man. Feel free to just say, hey, let me know you're lurking, but I appreciate you listening. I didn't know if you were still around, but I'm glad you are, man. I hope everything's good with you. How are things with you, man? If you're willing to disclose whatever you're willing to disclose, no pressure, man. I appreciate you being around. Appreciate you being around, man. Just trying to make it in this crazy world. Very, very sad world. Very sick world. Unfortunately, it's going good. That's good. Good, dope. Good, good, good. I'm glad it's going good. Because we want to see people. Everybody needs to deserves a chance to get better after things go good. I'm trying to. I got to make a bigger effort to get unglued from society, unglued from this. Part of it is I work at home, and I'm like not interacting. I'm not getting out enough, which I know that's a lot of people's issues. They say there's no third place. I don't have a second place. So that's my issue is shit. There's people more internet out than me, but I say that. How's my day going? It's going all right. It's going all right. I spend more time watching stuff on fantasy football than anything, which I mean it's still going mid. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, Dayron, it's going okay. It's going okay. Does anybody? I was talking about this David story. Does anybody know who this guy is? The singer who allegedly killed this young girl that he was seeing. Super young girl. He's like in his 20s. She's in her early teens. She's 15, 14. Really crazy story. They found this guy's car with her body in it in LA. Does anybody else know about the story, or is it just me? Because it's a story that's kind of gone under the radar with recent things. Hadn't heard about it till now. So yeah, I'm not surprised, unfortunately, because it's just the media's chosen the story that they will cover for the next few weeks and make you feel all sorts of emotions and trigger you one way or another, for better or worse. So that's just the way it is. But yeah, it's a weird story, man. Hollywood's a messed up place, man. It's a messed up place. We've known that for some time. Much was made about some of the cultural elements. I mean, it's so much. Just the way it is, the casting couch element, man. And it's amazing that we got some of they found me. Yeah, I have heard about that too. Yeah, that wasn't the other story, but that is another story. Yeah, I keep hearing about they keep finding people hung in Mississippi. I'm like, what in the hell? So we're going back into like Jim Crow type times. You know what I mean? Like this is crazy. What was it, like Delta State? I forgot the name of the college. So it's just like this is getting crazy, and I don't even understand why. Like, what is it? What's motivating this stuff? Um, and like these aren't like. Unfortunately, there's a lot of racial killings. I know a lot was made about incident in Charlotte. Even though I think that guy just had mental health issues. I think he mentioned a race, and that's a tragic story as well. But like, man, narratives are a motherfucker, man. A lot of people they found the white dude too. That's crazy. See, man, they're trying to get a lot of divide going, man. They're trying to get white versus black. Listen, depending on what your algorithm shows you, you can have your algorithm. Okay, that's a wholesome question. Favorite football player all time? Probably Barry Sanders. Favorite football player now? I'm gonna keep it Detroit. How about Jameer Gibbs? Um, but all time, probably Barry Sanders. I'm a Detroit fan. But they really are pushing that divide. Steve McNair was cold too. Steve McNair was cold as fuck. Rest in peace. Shit, maybe Cam Ward would be the. I mean, I know that's a tough shoes to fill, but he looks like he has some talent. Unfortunately, he also looks like he has to carry the team like McNair. First few weeks of season, he's made some plays, but the team hasn't helped him. But shout out to Steve McNair, Aaron McNair, one of the coldest quarterbacks of all time. And I mean, it was a tough dude, played through injuries, shared the MVP with Peyton Manning, one of the best players of all time, or one of the more underrated players. But yeah, they're pushing a lot of vibe, man. And you know what? If you let the internet tell you, the internet can show you um, his lines better than Levis. I think Will Levis. I think in general they're very impatient with quarterbacks in this modern era. I think Will. I'm not saying Will Levis was going to be some star, but we see with Daniel Jones, he goes to a new spot. Hell, I think even Mac Jones with San Francisco. I know he's only filling in for a few weeks with Brock Purdy injured, but he even looks sort of impressive at another spot. I just think you put these quarterbacks under pressure. They're not good in 2 years. They get rid of them, and then some of them, like Baker Mayfield or even to some extent Jared Goff, they end up or Sam Darnold or Geno Smith, you know what I mean? End up a few years later, and now all of a sudden they're good again. It may happen to Daniel Jones. Used to be a backup for years, back in the day. You used to be a backup. You didn't start him. You start the first week or first year. Sometimes it'd be 2 or 3 years. Yeah, the only person that did that with was Jordan Love. You would start 2 or 3 years. Wait 2 or 3 years sometimes. Sometimes they did like they did with Troy Aikman, where he started the first year was shitty and then they let him play into. But usually it would take a year or two. And they don't do that anymore. Even Tom Brady was the second year, and obviously they didn't know who it would be. But still, it's just like they don't do any of that. Or even somebody like Peyton Manning, okay, yeah, he did play off the gate, but his first year was terrible. And they let him play. It took really to his third year for him to get good. Similar to Josh Allen. Took to his third year, fourth year to get good. It just takes time. It's not easy, especially with all these fucking superheroes they got an edge rusher. I mean, they got some. These guys at edge rusher now are so fucking fast and they found so many 6'4", 260 pound dudes that can just run and get to the fucking quarterback and are super strong. It's just so many of this archetype clamor for the first round pick. Yeah, to play right out the gate, and then they get mad when they fuck up. It's like, well, you know what? That's not how that shit's supposed to be. They need time. I think they need time. And I get it. Sometimes you have Jade Daniels, but shit, even here in Houston, okay, C.J. Stroud had that good year his first year, and now he in his third year, and people are wondering, is he really good? And it's like, well, he didn't really. He's been just thrown in the fucking fire the whole time, and so he didn't really get to sit back and look at the game the other way. It's just like, all right, be good right now. Be perfect now, or you're nothing. It's like, what the fuck? The fuck type of standard is that? You can give people time to develop. What am I doing streaming in the morning? I have no idea. I have no idea. Not even on camera. I may even on, depending on how long the stream, I may toss on the fucking mask cop on camera because it's just for my phone. Appreciate you being here, Tree Rock. Appreciate you being here. But shit, I guess just as a lesson, man, don't let this internet, don't let a lot of this bullshit. They really try to divide people, man. Whether it's by politics, by race, by gender, they just really pushing that divide. They're not one thing they're not pushing is the class divide, which is that if there's anything that matters, is that the 99 versus the one. And the 1% beating our ass. The 1% is beating our ass and got us beating each other ass. But yeah, man, don't get divided by that bullshit. Your algorithm will just show you. If you let your algorithm brainwash you, it will. Your algorithm can show you, whatever it is. If you on the left, it can show you a bunch of crazy shit for people on the right. If you're on the right, it can show you a bunch of crazy shit for people on the left. If you white, it can show you all these, black people wilding out doing all this crazy shit. If you black, you can see a bunch of white people wilding out doing crazy shit. You know what I mean? It don't matter what if you look, even if you're not looking for it, they can show whatever because they're trying to divide you anyway. And some people fall for it. I mean, it is what it is. But don't let them, you know what I mean? And if you do it, that's on you, I guess. Because, people can just choose to fall for what they see. They say believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's do the same thing with Charlie Left, do it with Floyd. This is why I don't like disrespecting the dead. I'm gonna keep it consistent. I just rather not disrespect the dead, no matter what it is, no matter what they did, because it's just, sometimes I'm not to say that okay, you can't talk about what someone may not did, but like just to be wantonly disrespectful to a dead person, that's just not good spiritually. What topics no one talking about? That's what, Tree Rock. That's a gangster question. Why can't I control the AI YouTube by telling it exactly what I want to watch? That's a great question, Tree Rock Creations. And that's the $1 million question. Hey, Franklin Ross, appreciate you being here. And if I could tell you the YouTube algorithm, I want morale movies, no cussing, certain religion, that would be wonderful, right? Oh man, I'm so sick of this algorithm. This to me, and I'm just talking as a consumer, the YouTube algorithm has never been worse than it is now. So yeah, if you say, I just want to watch moral, non-cussing Christian movies, which if that's what you want to watch, who cares? That's what you want to watch. Start you want simple stuff, or I just want this is what I want to watch. It should tell you that's all you should get. Get something off the chest. You feel free, Franklin Ross, because that's what I try to do. Off my chest, but bother me when I getting mad. Feel free, feel free to talk. Talk your talk. But yeah, I would love this algorithm. We got all this AI stuff. Can it be for our benefit, please? Can I please tell this algorithm how to, give me content I like instead of trying to? Because algorithms are programmed to make you mad. By the way, what if I want to watch indies and not the mainstream? Exactly. Very good question. Which that's a thing I keep talking about with all of art. Unfortunately, a lot of people need a mainstream media spin before they can take something seriously. But some people do want to see independent movies, independent music, independent games, independent whatever, independent creators. And there's a lot of good independent movie creators and TV show creators, web series, but they're being fucking gatekept by this bullshit. This algorithm is not trying to show people. I remember as far as science fiction, what was that platform called? Dust? That was cool back in the day. Why must we hate each other? It's a good question, Franklin. There's just too much hate in this world. We need to love each other, all brothers and sisters, not by colors or blood. Yeah, you know why, man? I don't know. I in one way I don't know why, because I don't really get into it, but I think um unfortunately we allow media to have way too much power. We allow media and social media to have way too much power over our minds, and so people just fall into. And what the thing about social media is, it allows things to group up, so you can find a lot of like-minded individuals and gain power off of that, or just be a part of something powerful. So there's a lot you could, even if it's not necessarily reflective of the whole, even if when you go about your day, you may not see, people who are as divided. You know what I'm saying? But you can get on the internet, you'll see, oh man, there's like everybody, all these people are racist, or all these people are this, or whatever the hell it is, sexist, or whatever it is, or they hate Christians, or they're atheists, or they hate atheists, or whatever. You can find groups of people like that. And then again, this algorithm and all these other different platforms, they want you mad. They have no, because you're going to click on things that make you mad. You're going to watch things that make you mad. It's they're just trying to get you to do things that you react to, and facial recognition, all this stuff. They're reading your emotions. They're looking through your phone. These apps are looking at you and see, like, even though y'all can't see me, trust and believe that YouTube can see through the dark. Because I'm in my room when it's dark. But trust and believe that cameras, I'm sure the cameras are on for them. So they can read your emotion while you're scrolling. And when they see, oh, this thing triggers you, well, they're going to give you more of it. Negative is better than positive because you're more likely to click on that. So then now that it got you to brainwash you into hating something because they keep showing you a negative aspect of something to where you think, oh man, this group of people must be terrible because I just seen 15 straight shorts or 15 straight reels or TikToks or whatever because I'm doom scrolling because I do this. I'm not telling y'all like, oh, these people on the internet. So no, this is something I doom scroll. You might find 15, 20 more the same thing, making a certain group look bad, whatever the group may be. And then now if you're not smart enough on what they doing, you just take it for granted. And then you'll find other people in other places who agree, oh yeah, this. And you just take it for granted. If you not guarding your brain, guarding your heart, guarding your spirit. And like you said, now that the all history, well, it's repeating itself. It's not just one race; it's every race. That's a fair point. What happened to Darius Moonchild is a good question. A lot to watch. Yeah, I'm sick of the AI stuff. I really hate AI stuff. I'm sick of going to garbage to find gems. Now, I will say this: there are, despite what we know about history, there have been stretches and patches where multiple cultures have got along or gotten along to some extent, or certain cultures that we think of are really amalgamations of other cultures. Um, so that's a part of history that sometimes we don't always uh, because with the telling of history, at least I can say in the West, it's really just about the West. It's about the birth of the West, Western Europe into America. That's usually the telling of history. And so all of history, prehistory, pre-Christ history, all that stuff doesn't really get boiled down to and other things that were happening outside of that narrative aren't really being included in history, at least here in America, unfortunately. So if there is um, sometimes we look at a country like China or India or Japan and not realizing before that there was multiple tribes or multiple groups of people. Maybe yeah, they may have had some similar freedom types, but they were technically separate peoples that came together to form those countries. Um, so and even those phenotypes took years and years to develop, thousands of years to develop. So, we're getting, we just think, oh, yeah, it's just China. Like, well, it's not that simple. That's a lot of different people to make up now what we just call Chinese. So that's one element that, yeah, right. There have been obviously lots of different culture. I mean, Japan and China had their own issues, right? There's been different cultures to clash and different races, nationalities, and nations to clash. But they've also been nations and groups of people and different tribes to coexist to come together. It hasn't always just been clashing all the time. It just depends on how that goes. But no, I understand it. I understand it. No, because frankly, I feel similar. I'm sick of the and yeah, that if you look at just recent history in America, I don't feel like there was nearly this much racial stuff as it was, 10, 15 years ago. Maybe I was me being young and ignorant. Um, but I feel like a lot of the racial stuff has gotten worse in recent years. Uh, yeah, you're right. There still will be some sort of hatred. Yeah, shit. Bush did steal that election in 2000 against Al Gore. Yeah, I would say in the 2000s it didn't feel as crazy. Hey, Jamalama. So that's why I live with the internet. But if you're talking about this as the human condition, there's always going to be people who want power. You know, long and short of it, there's always going to be people who want power, and dividing the people is always an easy way of keeping power or getting to power. You know what I'm saying? That's just unfortunately division is a good way of getting power. They're the bad guys. A good way of getting power. It's their fault. Uh, people love to hear somebody else's fault. Sometimes it is, but you know what I mean. People love that, so you can always get power and clout just saying that. So yeah, it's an infinite money glitch. You know what, Tree Rock, baby? I never thought of that. That the early 2000s 9/11 caused a lot of solidarity because it did. It certainly did, and maybe it did. Over the course of the 2000s, bring more solidarity, and then as that faded, that solidarity faded. That America, because the patriotism as something positive faded. So that's a interesting take. That's what I never thought of, Tree Rock. Hey, Jam, if I didn't say anything, but yeah, money, power, just the greatest sins in life. Yeah, and social media is the thing, and these algorithms are the thing. Just like we talk about, like how come we can't just Tree Rock talking about how come we can't just tell the algorithm what we want to see, because they want you to see a certain thing. They can't. If you program yourself, they're not gonna mess with it. He said it was a better time. Plus, I was only 23. Yeah, it's also part of it when you're younger. I was in my teens in the 2000 teens to the early 20s at the end. So when you're a little younger, it's a lot more. You're a little more optimistic, a little more positive. Uh, I mean, shit. It's saying that we did go through the economic crisis that ended in the 2000s, and we've been in the economic crisis the past few years. And it's only about to get worse. I do. I remember forums, Street Rock, those old school forums, and shit, bulletin boards. I feel young. You 28 right now. Hey, appreciate being 28 right now, Franklin. You'll be in your 30s before you know it, and I'm in my 30s now. Before I know it, I'll be in my 40s. I'm closer to 40 than 30. I'll be 38 pretty soon. So enjoy youth while you have it. But yeah, I don't know why we can't come together on smaller levels. Sometimes we forget that. There's people of different nationalities and religions and stuff that are friends to this day. You know what I mean? Have lifelong friendships. Unfortunately, we don't show each other that. That's not gonna make the headline news. Oh, these two or three families of different nationalities been friends for 30 years. I mean, nobody's gonna put that on TV. Nobody cares about that, unfortunately. But I see this world right now. It flashed me out. You 46. Yeah, you a little older than me, Gober. I see this world right now. I noticed it was in middle school. I see. You do notice the vice of this. And when you were in middle school, we're talking 28. So that's 14 years ago. That's like, so what, 2010, 2009 to 10. What's getting worse? Yeah, this is a come together moment. This should be a come together moment. Like I said, I'm worried about them. And, you know, to go specifically to the story that I'm getting tired of, but it is what it is. The Charlie Kirk situation. I'm worried about them using this as a means to shut down free speech, which is not something he would have wanted. It is very disturbing to see people who were championing free speech. To again, I'm not talking about people getting, I could give a shit about fucking. I'm talking about putting this shit in laws, actually creating laws for this shit. It's like, nah, man, that's a slippery slope. I was 10 or 11 when you noticed it. Back then, it didn't bother you, but now it's pissing you off. Well, it wasn't as intense. And back then, you had more places to escape. It wasn't just like social media is everything now, man. Unfortunately, I spend 90% of my free time on fucking Instagram or YouTube, personally. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, unfortunately. So now those fucking platforms have way more impact on me than, you know, if you back in the day you had like cable and shit, it was like 60 channels, 70, 100, hundreds of channels. So, watching Fox Sports Network, Fox Sports can only have so much impact on you because you got 70 other channels to watch, plus DVDs, plus video games. In a way, you would think we got more to do now. We actually have less to do because a lot of the different content forms have dried up. We no longer really have cable. A lot of people cut the cord. Movies aren't even made as often as they once were, let alone to the same quality they once were. Music's been de-emphasized, 100 times fold to where one of the biggest quote unquote pop stars could have a 15-year-old in his trunk and nobody even know who the hell he is. Um, so like all the different media forms that you would have distracted yourself with just 10, 15 years ago, just 5 years ago, they're all worse. So you end up spending more of your time on social media. And social media then has a bigger hold on just not just you, the whole world. That's one side effect from the pandemic. They've given and some people are smart enough to kind of escape it, but they've uh tripled the impact of social media, even as opposed to, as bad as the 2010s were with social media and shit, even though most of social media is just bots, still they were able to push that shit, push the agenda harder, it seems. It's like the brainwave way. Yeah, you're right. We also went outside, which you still can do. Get some vitamin D. Pause if you need to. But there is less to that. That's supposedly on purpose. They say that even about the building design, like why McDonald's. Well, part of that is so they can resell the buildings. But why McDonald's look the way they do as opposed to the way they used to, or different companies and different stores, why they look the way they do as opposed to what they used to and have original designs and shit. It's everything's all boring and corporate bland. A lot of that's to resell buildings. Also, it's just to nothing feels special. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that feels special anymore. And so you don't feel, so everything feels silly. So now you spend most of your time scrolling your phone because you ain't got nowhere else to go. You ain't got nowhere else to go. You said the far, far left. I just silly. I don't even. Well, the left. Both sides are deep state right now. CIA's running. CIA and the FBI / whoever are running things. But they always were Antifa. They always were Antifa. That wasn't new. There's no difference between entertainment and politics. Politics is everywhere. Yeah, they did used to make us stay outside, which kind of sucked. But yeah, everything is ugly. Yeah, they don't want people to be inspired and have hope. They really don't. And they're trying to get rid of these amendments, and that's what's scary. Ancestors rolling real our ancestors. Yeah, everybody fought for this stuff throughout the years. And we need the first. We need yes, we need all those amendments. We need the first. We need the second. We need the fourth and the fifth. Um, and Lord knows, they're trying to get rid of civil liberties. And both sides have done it because Lord knows the left was doing it. And now it's the right's turn to take a shot at civil liberties. Always Antifa. Well, listen, the entire right versus left divide is a federal psyop. And so when I say it was always Antifa is, I mean, if you can look back, go back to the quote unquote summer of love, there was somebody who was funding that. And a lot of blame was put on Soros, but even with that, somebody else was funding that because I covered it. They would go to, one place, quote unquote protest, get arrested, get bailed out, go to another place. They kept doing that. They would go to another place. They had U-Haul trucks. I don't know if you can find a video now, but you could back then. Them having U-Haul trucks of supplies and shit. That shit wasn't organic. That wasn't just some people doing that shit. Oh, we'll just do it. They were funded. They were funded, and they were moved across the country. There were people who would get arrested in multiple places, but then they would get let out and go somewhere else. That was that was federal. So I listen before 2020. I couldn't tell you, but I can definitely tell you since 2020. Maybe I don't because listen, I hadn't, like most people hadn't heard of Antifa until 2020. Let me keep it 1,000. So I couldn't tell you what they did before there. So maybe but it's since 2020. I would say. I'll be specific enough to do that. Since commies never lost the Cold War, they just waited 50 years ago. Shit, the Yazis never lost the World War. They Operation Paperclip became a part of the country. This is why I'm in the middle. Look at the left, but also look at the right. Middle, independent. Well, yeah, I guess I would call it independent. Yeah. Good luck. I consider myself independent right now too. Throughout my life, I've been on both sides. There's, and not to use the infamous Trump quote, there are good people on both sides. There actually are though. There are humans that truly believe in uh, lesser government and liberty minded and just believe in not having things pushed in your face, who believe in free speech, believe in the Second Amendment. There are people who believe in trying to help people, trying to give people the best chance of life, and use resources to provide basic benefits to majority of people. And they legitimately believe in these things, and they're not terrible people, right? But if you get caught up in that right versus left paradigm, it's so easy to get caught up in that because what they do is they never there's never a spot for introspection. You never look inward and say, wait a second, what about how we're reacting to or something? What about us? You'll always find something to blame the left for if you're on the right. You'll always find something to blame the right for if you're on the left. And most of the time, you're probably both right or both correct. You know what I'm saying? We need more independent people. So the right versus left paradigm doesn't swallow us whole. So they both can be called out properly where they need to be. Because I mean, you say, Tree Rock is saying he doesn't want to hear the Dims lines for another year and a half. I don't even know what their Dims lines is. I'm a lot madder at the right now, personally. That's just my own personal opinion. But that's one thing I'm not gonna do is just say, oh, I have my issues with the right now. Let's all wear AOC stickers. I have my issues with both sides to be 1,000%, but um the right has more power right now, and the corpos like Palantir and Peter Thiel and Meta and all them, They all got MAGA hats now. So as I see, they were a part of the left. Now they moved on to the right. So now that's what side the enemy is on for me. And I just look at the other side. I kind of don't even. I don't look at the left as consequential right anymore. Personally, I look at the left as Appalachian State or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not a Power Five conference right now. To me, um, Peter Thiel and Palantir and all the Liberty, uh, all the attacks on liberty and civil liberties look like they coming from the right now. Um, I don't care. And I'm not saying that there's nothing coming from the left. I just don't see, again, in Appalachian State, who they don't really they don't really count right now. To me, that's just my perspective. You know what I'm saying? But I need to hear y'all perspective. So keep talking because I don't know. I don't know what y'all think. I don't know what y'all see. So yeah, I wish November was an election. You could vote out the crazy Democrats. Always before the summer of love. So, well, fair enough. But like I said, I don't really have a scope for them. And my mistake for using that term, I think of Antifa as something that all basically started in 2020, even though you're correct that it didn't. Because from my perspective, it basically did. You know what I mean? I didn't give, I had never heard of Antifa before 2020. Um, But as far as post World War II, well, the feds being on both sides of the government, that's a post. That's I think after JFK, that's when that happened. So if you're talking about that situation, I would say since JFK, but Antifa specifically, that group, I don't know when they started. I couldn't tell you when they started. And hell, they probably still that doesn't mean I'm wrong. they may have started as a CIA psyop from the jump. For all I know, I don't know enough about them to say that they did or didn't. Like I said, I just heard them in 2020. But I think both sides of the government has been won at least since JFK. Voted for Trump, but I'm not blind. Gas and groceries are the same. Yeah, they are the same under Biden. I'm not voting anymore. I'm done voting. I'm done voting. And Biden was no picnic either. You know what I mean? I was critical of him when he was a quote unquote power. I just like I was critical of the fact that he grew 7 or 8 inches after it was last year. All of a sudden he's just who knows if he's even alive still to this day. Sick of hearing about the government shutdowns. Yeah, I'm sick of this shit too. The government shutdowns. They both get paid off by the same corpos, and then they hold our government hostage. And they use everything in the book they can. They politicize everything that's not tied down. It's a mess. I've known Antifa because I always followed them, followed this crap your buddy told you about him years ago. So yeah, I wasn't aware about them. Yeah, but the far left dialogue was not engaged. Who cares about the far left? What about the moderate left? That's another thing I'm getting a little upset with. I'm sick of people on the right only counting the far left like this. That's it. Like it's just like you're doing the same thing they do, where it's either the right or the far left. So wait. What about the moderates? What about moderate left? They do exist. It's not. And you're right. The far left that's crazy out. They're not listening to nobody. But there's other people. There's other people outside that. A lot was made. Again, going back to the Kirk situation, Charlie Kirk, and a lot was made to an extent, rightfully so, about the people who were celebrating his death. That's not right. But what was lost when the people say, "Oh man, I didn't," or I didn't know of him, or I didn't like him, but this is messed up. No one, they didn't get acknowledged. It was we took the worst of the worst and extrapolated it for how we view the whole. And I think that's why that us versus them runs so deep, because you take the worst of the worst. And I'm not saying necessarily that you're doing it, but I am seeing people do it. They take the worst, the most extreme, and they make that extreme the whole. And they just totally lock out the chance that there are people who would engage in dialogue. And there are people who would discuss things because, yeah, you're right. The crazies won't, but there are other people who aren't. I'm using crazies. If you're super far in one direction, you're probably lost, whether it's right or left. So if you're the super far left, yeah, you may not be able to be discussed. But I don't think that's reflective of the whole. I don't think that everybody on the left is the super far left. But listen, y'all honestly, even though I'm giving my perspective, because I try to give my perspective, I'm much more of a normie at this point. Because I'm definitely not watching the political stuff 24/7 like I did in 2020. But far left, when I gauge dialogue, even identify and call it out, then we can figure out shit because the left right paradigm doesn't apply. To me, I'm starting to see a whole, as far as I can see both sides starting to look a lot similar. They say if you go far enough right, far enough left, you end up in the same space. Get to the power of the people. If the left spread lies and people don't have the money to sue, there should be a way to stop the lies. What lies are being spread? If Biden was an idiot. Kimmel thing, I'm indifferent at, you know what I mean? There was a big network in Europe post WW2 on that Intel got busted for us. The same shit today. They're too worried about the vision to keep the government running. No, delineate them as far left separate from my left. Fair enough. Moderate left is laughing too. I saw moderate left. Then again, I'm less political. My algorithm is less so. But I saw sympathy from moderates on the left. But I'm not. I don't have as emotional of a stake either. Hey, LDG, it's basically a morning show. Basically a morning show. If the left lies, it does a lot of other sides to respond to the lies. The only way to stop the mainstream media from lying is to sue. Most people don't have the money to do that. Didn't expect to have. Yeah, sorry, the morning show. Yeah, take a shower. Where Bill Maher and Charlie Sheen had the voices of reason. We fucked. Can you go? No, feel free. No, you gotta chill. You talk. I don't want to. This isn't. We don't have to be competitive agreement. It's okay to disagree. Understand each other's perspective. You see, so and I'm asking this objectively, Tree Rot, because I want to know the specific situation you're talking about. I'm not saying that both the left and the right lie. They've lied many times, but because I'm not, I don't live and breathe politics at all. I get it from y'all. I watch reels. I watch shorts. I'm not doing the same research I was doing in 2020, 2021 to see what the left does and the right does. Because I consider it the same demon at this point, and I've been doing that's been my operating procedure. So it's always like an adjustment to go back to the right left paradigm at all. But what specifically is the left lying about that is causing so much uproar in your mind? Uh, or what is it? Because I'm not as immediately aware of what that is. Try to go back to sleep. And what did Charlie Sheen say? I've seen some things with Bill Maher, which I don't always agree with Bill Maher, but sometimes I do. Sometimes he says, some of the common sense stuff he said about the left, leave people children alone. Uh, which was just basic, like if basic bitch shit. Leave people children alone. Some of the crazy policies of the real radical left. But so, like I said, sometimes I feel like the radical left is used as a red herring, because they're so. And I say this not just as someone who's maybe in my past life, my past on this channel, maybe I also used them as a red herring. It's you can find something very obtuse and extreme about the radical left, and just look at this, look what they're doing now. And is it really matter? I don't know if you guys remember there was a big what was the chick? The chick from and this is more the media thing, more the culture cry fire type thing. But still, it was what was the chick from Game of Thrones had a comic called Mom. It was this weird feminist, like armpit hair and periods. Oh, it was weird as hell. And it's like, oh, look what the radical left is doing in the comics. But it's like at the end of the day, it really wasn't a big deal. Nobody gave a shit. They made one comic and went away. But it was something that, for that few week period, if you wanted to make content on, you can make a bunch of content on. You can use this and talk about how crazy the left is doing now. But meanwhile, nobody on Earth knows about that. Nobody on Earth remembers about it. It really wasn't a big deal. Uh, uh, shit. Okay. The left lied. Biden continued to cover it up for years. No one was able to stop him because the Biden government didn't do anything. So why couldn't the people stop it? There was a lot of things that were lied about, especially if you go back to the COVID situation. Amongst others, stuff with Hunter, a lot of lies. But is there a specific lie that you're talking about? A specific set of lies? Um, you know what I mean? Because again, there's tons of shit that was lied about. I'm not saying there wasn't, but I'm just trying to get specific. Your what your case is and what you're putting down. There was a lot of shit that was lied about. I mean, shit. I think both sides lie about the fucking unemployment numbers. I don't. I think that's a healthy. No matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, you're. I think anybody who's looking for a job, or in my case, I'm just looking for a second job over the past few years. You can say, okay, something wrong is amiss with these employment numbers, both under both administrations. But that's another can of worms. Um, she was on Rogan when it happened. I didn't know that. He was shot that first say could be a JFK. Um, it looks like they're gonna. I am very shocked that this story has grown as much as it is. I think, because I knew of Charlie Kirk. I didn't think of him as I just didn't think of him as this big of a guy. I mean, I've seen people who said that he helped get President Trump elected. And I didn't. I'm not saying it didn't happen because I'm not into hardcore politics like I was, but that's not something I realized. I'll say at least that if that is the case, y'all would know better than me. The difference is the far left has the support of TPTB. I feel like both got a lot of you talk about academia. I mean, when we look at big tech has went over to the right. I mentioned Palantir and Meta and other sources. So, I mean, of course, even X/Twitter. So you see a lot of big tech is moving on the right. Academia is a leftist thing, and then you said the NSAs and GOs. But I mean, one thing where I'm not a fan of is the left. The right is not some indie wrestling show. There's big money and big. Clearly, we see Israel's involved in everything. I didn't want to mention them, but there's a lot of powerful people on both sides. I'll say that much. Of course, most sane people knew he was losing his mind, but the media still covering it up. That's true. That's true. Okay, yeah, that's why I wanted the specifics. Like, what's your specific gripe? This is gripe. It's a legit gripe. It's not some bullshit. Of course, most sane people knew Biden was losing his mind. Yeah, we was even jokes about it, but the media did still cover it up. And look at what happened to our country. And who was running the country? Was the media? That's a good question. Who was running the country? I would, being the cynic I am, I would say the same people who are running it now. But you know what I mean? As far as the behind the scenes people, uh, a lot of powerful people. Seeing big tech switch was very curious. Uh, yep, that's what the left was doing their anti free speech thing. Oops, sorry, the screen. Me even mentioned censoring certain people on social media, forcing people to get vaccinated. People did get censored on social media. That's why I was so curious to see that, platforms like Instagram and Facebook owned by Meta and Mark Zuckerberg, and he was so leftist just a week ago, and then all of a sudden, Trump won, and he's on the Rogan show trying to act like a human. I thought that was very curious. But yeah, he was so. And so when you say something like that, social media, is that the same group that was just on the left just during that pandemic? That now they got a MAGA hat on. What are your thoughts on that? That the same social media you're talking about that was censoring people, some of those same groups now they got a MAGA hat on. Trump to undo the Obama Act, allow propaganda in the U.S. directed at Americans. Hey, K2J the Extreme. Long time no see indeed. Even though sometimes I'll see you playing Fortnite. But I'll maybe learn for a little bit and then that's it. But I appreciate you being here, man. Appreciate you being here. Basically, these reps and dubs have too much power. Absolutely. I think term limits are a necessity for both. But you're right. Are they going to pass a bill? It's a conflict of interest, and that's the main issue. That's the main issue. Give me a second. Oh, since I'm up, I'm about to just hop up for a second and hop on camera just in case people show up. Since we already streamed a fucking hour, let's see if we can find my mask. We all wear masks, right? It's in my room. Other room. Need to switch it up. Viewers are tired of you streaming, really? Well, I never got into Fortnite. I mean, I guess it's okay to watch. Sometimes. I know a lot of people are into Marvel Rivals, right? Well, they were. I'm old, so by the time I find out about something, it's already lame. It already fell off by the time I find out. And I'm like, oh yeah, Marvel Rivals. Oh yeah, you mean the shit that was hot 7 months ago? Oh man. All right, here's my stuff. Let me get ready. We'll stream probably another hour or so. Let me get a water so I can just chill. This is like I'm not sleeping. To say big tech has moved to the right is a blanket statement. Meta is trying not to get fucked like you say it's a blanket statement of category of tech. Well, okay. I'll be more specific. There are certainly big tech parties who have moved to be, and I would say the big tech scope it does not seem as leftist heavy as it did. That I can say. Because if you look at the big tech platform, I don't really know where Google is currently standing. Rest in peace, Mama Susan. But Twitter was a leftist platform back then. I know they had their little beefs. It could be thought of no worse as an independent platform, between Elon and the Orange Man having their beefs. And, Meta, those two platforms, Facebook and Instagram, are massive. And then so the next platform after that is what, TikTok? So that's China. And I mean, I say that for now. I know there's a lot going on with that, and it looks like they're going to be changing that pretty soon. So maybe it's a blanket statement. Maybe I could word it better. I'm not saying my wording couldn't be better, but it certainly isn't the same overwhelming, in 2020, going back, back in the days, it felt like the whole tech situation was all left, nothing else. And you said, and it worked, by the way. You talking about what'd you say about Meta? Try not to get fucked. I mean, didn't Meta just avoid some situation? I can't remember the specifics of it. Because again, we're having a conversation about politics. I'm not a political pundit. You probably do know more about it than me as far as the specifics. of the specific details. I'll grant you that. Um, see, I know what I get in passing. Can we? Hey, here we are. There we are. Where's the pen again? There we go. All right, we're in business. But categorically fault. I mean, maybe if maybe that wording wasn't correct, but it definitely is not what it was in 2020. Um, hey, Gomer and K2J, I remember both of you guys being here back in those days, right? Correction about Obama Act equals propaganda. Play Fortnite to shoot stuff, fair enough. On a real, you like Fortnite over Marvel Rivals and Overwatch. The Rivals got nice ass graphics. Trump is talking term limit for Congress. We'll see. I guess we will see. Better than Fortnite, just like Fortnite more. Fair enough. Sue Storm's. You killed Sue Storm's ass in Fortnite. Okay. Behind the scenes, tech, Congress. Also when the globalist masters. Behind the scenes, both sides. That's behind the scenes is everyone's serving the big eye, unfortunately. And everything we're seeing is just theater. This is all political theater at the end of the day. That I feel very strongly about. Voters should vote on term limits, not Congress. I agree. It's practically sure every American would pass that, right? Jay, hey. Well, for me, rivals for the most part. Only deal with Marvel characters. Fortnite deal with everything. Yeah, that's the big draw. It's basically one big ass crossover. Yeah, you're right. Tech is not 100% left like it was. Never played Rivals. Fortnite looks easier. Yeah, we haven't mentioned Black Rock either. those there's other powers. Outside of the big eye, you got Black Rock, Blackstone, Vanguard. The big. Hey, there's smaller private equity firms too, but big private equity. You got the big eye. You got China. There's a lot of power players, but the right versus left is just it's a dance they do to balance out their own issues, basically. That's all it is. It's a dance that happens where these powerful people from behind the scenes can balance the shit that they're trying to get over on each other, and we're just the pawns in the game, in the chess game. I remember Ultimate Muscle. You remind me of someone Ultimate Muscle. Oh shit! I ain't heard that in a minute. Appreciate you being here, Javier. Has anyone been keeping track of Canada lately? I've not. Left is losing their power there. Well, I mean, Canada's becoming India, so that's not a good way. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to keep their power there. Ultimate Muscle, that's crazy. It's black. I mean, shit wouldn't shock me, but I don't know the specifics. Can't wait for the Fortnite nightmares to continue. Collection your favorite horror characters. Oh, that's pretty cool. See, Fortnite was smart, just paying for all those fucking licenses for all those characters. So, like you said, it's that big ass crossover feel. The fact that Rick and Morty can fight Power Rangers, can fight Batman, can fight Spider-Man, can fight Jason. You know what I'm saying? It's just too much. Ultimate Muscle had a fire theme, so yeah, I ain't heard Ultimate Muscle like 15, 20 years. How about those Lakers? I ain't talking about I don't know what's going on with the Lakers. I mean, obviously the season starts in a few months. LeBron's still playing. I did see some conspiracy shit talking about the reason LeBron was scared to retire because he's scared they're gonna sacrifice him. I don't know if that's true. We'll see if he dies. Obviously Kobe died. Only a few years after he retired. How about those refs? Yo, that was bullshit for the Broncos, Jammer. I had never seen. It was a leverage call. That was bullshit. I mean, it was cool for me because I picked the Colts to make the playoffs. But yeah, they jobbed out the Broncos right there. That was absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Like, what the fuck is that? Just that shit at least went to overtime. That was crazy. That was crazy. And I get the idea behind the leverage call, but it shouldn't. You don't call it if nothing happens. You know what I'm saying? At least I don't think so. I don't know. Now look at the we was Vikings and shit, man. I don't know what you're on. I'm just I don't usually do this, man, but I don't know who you are. I usually don't do this, but I don't know who you are. So Lions, yeah, I was happy to see the Lions win. I was a little worried about, they wanted to run up the score for Ben Johnson. That's nice and everything, but we need to just get our wins and get out of there because we've had too many injury issues. And now we got Baltimore next week. This coming week, I'm very nervous about Baltimore. Which I did my NFL show for anybody watching. I talk about sports. I've been talking about sports more than politics. I've been trying to get away from politics. This channel started off as a political channel back in the day. I've been trying to get rid of it ever since. But crazy shit keep happening. So I keep somehow having to fucking talk about it. What time you going this morning? I don't go in till 2. I should be asleep. I work afternoons. I wasn't able to sleep, so here I am. Three female vampires. Impressive. Let me see. I'm not sure the contest. I think you guys talking about Fortnite or something. But yeah, I was happy to see the Lions win. I'm nervous about Baltimore. Last time we faced Baltimore was like 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago, and they blew us out. Just got to hope for a better performance this time. Females dominate the locker room in Fortnite. That's what's up. Shout out to the Goonery. Shout out to the Goons. Shout out to the Gooner. Still got a lot of dudes in there too. Fair enough. Haven't played the RoboCop game. I forgot about that. That is a game I wanted to play. Woke up at 3 a.m. and trying to go back to sleep. Yeah, I just wasn't able to sleep. Laid down for a little bit. Like, man, I'm just not sleeping. And so here I am. And shout out to the people this morning. Oh, we had 12 people, but they left. I don't know if the Benjamin scared them away or what. They left. RoboCop does look cool. Yeah, I forgot about that game until you mentioned it. That's something to look at. To get back into the game. I have, I've been playing Tekken and stuff like that, but I haven't really game as much. RoboCop game is boring, whoa, trash. What made you say that? Did you play it? Yeah. That's crazy. You have played it. Oh man. Well, that sucks. See, that's the risk with anything in media. It's like it's either boring, woke, or trash, or in that case, boring, woke, trash. All three. Hey, Javier, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. I get more subs doing these phone streams than doing anything else, because that's what the algorithm wants. It wants either shorts or it wants this short form. It wants the cell phone content basically. So I guess I gotta get the people what they want. Watch people play for an hour. So yeah, it's too bad. Oh man. Giving them therapy sessions. He's doing chores for people. That's weird. Oh man, I remember that. RoboCop vs. Terminator on Genesis. That's cold. Yeah, everything in media is either woke, trash, or or boring, and that's all three. So it's like, fuck, you know what I mean? That's weird. I want to see RoboCop get therapy. I mean, I get he's going through, this man versus machine sort of, psychological existential crisis or whatever, but I mean, that's not what we here for. Yeah, I like the Street Fighters too. I got a few of them on Steam, let alone all the old ones to emulate. Yeah, Street Fighter's good on Genesis. Has anybody seen that Street Fighter cast? It's a pretty wacky cast. Got a few wrestlers. I think a few MMA guys are in it. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. Who else? I couldn't tell you, but it was a bunch of people in there. 50 Cent. So it looks like a wild cast. So we'll see how that shit goes. It needs to be a woke label. You know there was a Steam app that at least would let you know if or Steam add-on, which I think there was a lot of controversy, that will let you know if a game. I think it was just if it. What was the name of that fucking company? Sweet Baby Inc. Let you know if Sweet Baby Inc. had anything to do with the company, with the game. Which there was other, they ain't the only people who make woke games, but that was a app or something. Nago T back, brother. Hey brother. Like Cody, but don't care about the WWE anymore. I haven't been watching as much, content. After SummerSlam, I stopped watching. And even before SummerSlam, I would say the last time I was really paying attention to wrestling was this WrestleMania. And then a little bit after. And after that, I just kind of fell out of it. Just gave his W for woke. Indeed, I'm from Super because of Cammy, Fei Long, and the crew. And shit, as far as Street Fighter, I'm right next to. I got a bunch of Street Fighter action figures. I got more. Talking about Cammy, not to go on. Here's Cammy right here. Here's Chun-Li. I ain't gonna do the whole collection. What do we got? What else we got? You mentioned his Vega. This is a recent one. I thought it was Fei Long for a second. That was Vega. I got pretty much the whole. This is a company called Jada Toys. I got most of the line. At this point. I'm just grabbing stuff. We got Guile. I want the Player 2 Guile, but that's a little more rare. I got a couple of Player 2. Which is kind of look for. I got Player 2 Bison. Let's see what I can find. Hold on. Oh, yep. These are the last two because I got it all crazy. So, of course, I got to show the cold motherfucker Blanca. They do a Player 2 of him. I'm going to have to grab him. Blanca. Hopefully you can see it. Yep. And then I got Player 1 Bison too. But I'm not going to grab all that. That's Player 2 Bison. See, I got a bunch of Street Fighter. This whole line. They've been doing it for a few years. Every now and again I'll pick one up. But if a piece gets too hard to get, I'm not gonna go too hard to get it. If I can't buy it, I can't buy it. If I miss it, I miss it. But I got a ton of those, as you guys seen. So, England deserves a WrestleMania for Saudi, Prince of Saudi. Well, unfortunately, Saudi is paying a lot more money for did Chun-Li's ass justice. Hey, listeners, good morning. Morning, Gomer. Blanca was your favorite character to play the Street Fighter 2? Yeah, I like Blanca. See, I like the whole thing, man. I want to get some dioramas for different stages. And then I would actually take them out of the package and pose them and stuff like that. I have not done that. It's on the to-do list. I got my own honey-do list for myself. And I haven't done it yet. Yeah, I'm going to check out the Street Fighter movie. And I wanted to check out, speaking of the fighting game movies, Mortal Kombat. Wasn't that supposed to come out this year? The Mortal Kombat movie? It looks like, looks like they made Carl Urban, Johnny Cage. And it looks like it's not going to come out until next year now. I'm not sure what happened with that. But I thought it was supposed to come out this year. Like I said, Carl, I didn't really like the first one, but this was kind of it looks like they were doing more of a reboot. It looks like this one should have been the first one. The first one didn't even end with the tournament. which was stupid. So they looks like they're correcting this and making this basically the reboot. It's almost like they're not totally ignoring the first one, but they are sort of, because they are sort of ignoring it. But yeah, it did look pretty cool. You know, play God 2 was a good one. I usually like Ken and Ryu. I know they're the most basic, but they had the most basic, simple move set. Or sometimes Sakura, depending on if it was like a different, like if it wasn't the basic 2, like a Street Fighter Alpha or some shit like that. I can't remember which one she was on. But I did like playing with her. She had a couple. She had her own version of the Ken and Ryu moves, but she had a couple other ones I liked. So yeah, I'm not, I'm a fighting game fan. I'm more of a Tekken fan, but Street Fighter has bad action figures, so I'm still a fan of toys. So, like I said, I've been picking that up. Each time I pick up a few a year. I'm not crazy with it. Chun-Li and Vega. I don't know if you were here. Maybe as you came in, I was showing the action figures. I have both Chun-Li and Vega as far as action figures. But as far as characters to play with, I like Chun-Li. I like that kick, that infinite kick. Even, forgot what it's called. You just tap the kick button really fast. I know Vega was hard as a boss. He's a perfect example of that type of character that's super hard as a boss, and then not quite as, even though he can be hard to play against, but not quite as powerful when he's in the hands of the regular person. E Honda had the same thing with the slap. Shout out to E Honda. That's one character I don't know if they've made a toy of, at least in this line. I had to play Guile, but if someone chose Blanca for Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition. Isn't it crazy how many different Street Fighter 2s came out? That's, looking back, because now they do patches, right? And back then you couldn't patch a game, so they would just come up with a new version of it. And it would be slightly different, and, they had all those different versions of Street Fighter 2 and then Street Fighter Alpha. But, they were really patches. You look back at it. And then, part of it were patches for the arcade version, because remember the whole arcade system. But it's weird that there's so many different versions of Street Fighter 2, mainly because, that wouldn't be the case if the game that came out today. It would just have been a bunch of DLC. Yeah, Street Fighter 2 definitely was a definitive Street Fighter. Don't know any of the characters after Genesis. Fair enough. Remember the arcade? Yeah, that was really good times. I never played the first Street Fighter. I just remember Street Fighter 2, and then Super Street Fighter 2 was Turbo, and I can't remember the order, but I think it was Super something. So the Super Street Fighter, I think Turbo Street Fighter Turbo, and then whatever it was. I can't remember all the iterations and the names and the release order. And then there was Alpha, Street Fighter EX, and then eventually they got to Street Fighter 3. Yeah, Street Fighter Alpha 3 is pretty fun. I've played that on stream before, Street Fighter Alpha 3. And Street Fighter, I played Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Street Fighter Alpha 3 Third Strike? And again, I'm sure there's somebody who's a diehard Street Fighter fan. Like, you're fucking up the names. I know, I'm fucking things up. I don't have everything exact. But yeah, those were the days, as the kids say. Stop playing fighting games. Not good anymore. Like Mortal Kombat better though. Fair enough. Have you played any of the recent Mortal Kombat games? I know they just Streets of Rage days. KTJ is a Streets of Rage guy too. I love Streets of Rage. If y'all remember, I used to play that a bunch on stream. But you play in the recent Mortal Kombat? They just had that Mortal Kombat 1, and a few months ago or whatever, they stopped support for that. And it looks like they're going to make a new Injustice instead. Um, yeah, I love Streets of Rage. Love Streets of Rage still. I heard they're making a new one of those, which I'm hesitant at. I mean, they made Streets of Rage 4 actually, going back to 2020. I think it came out in 2020. It's one of my favorite games since then, but I don't know about doing another one, you know. Especially it looks like they may change the format a little bit. Do I still play it? I haven't played it in a while, but it's not something that I couldn't play. I played it this year, Streets of Rage 4. Um, it's been a while since I played some of the older ones though. Maybe a year or so. But I mean, I got an emulator. I can always break out Streets of Rage 2 or 3. Should play it on the SNES. Yeah, it was a fun game. Super fun game. One of my favorite games for the era. So it's not on the SNES. See, I was wondering that. I kind of thought, like, was it on the SNES or the Genesis? I thought it was just Genesis exclusive, but she had said it, so I didn't say anything. Final Fight is. Okay. Final Fight is very similar to Streets of Rage 2. Shout out to Final Fight. I was wondering, I'm like, I don't know if it was on the SNES or the Genesis, but I mean, I knew it was on the Genesis, but I didn't know if it was exclusive to the Genesis. Maybe you were playing Final Fight, or maybe you were playing the Genesis. Who knows? Who knows? Could have swore 2 or 3 was on SNES. Maybe you got Mandela affected. Maybe your universe was like that. Welcome to this universe. Welcome to this reality where we're going off a cliff. Sorry you ended up here. But just no worries. A lot of people get those mixed up. I was a kid, thought they were the same. Fair enough. Not only play with your stepkid, gave him a PS4 and a PS5 when he got a computer. I think consoles are pretty much done. I don't see anybody happy that they bought a Switch 2. I'm not going to the next console generation. I do need to eventually rebuild my own PC. That's this project in and of itself, but I'm not going into the next console generation. Fuck all that. What is this layout? It's just me in my living room / dining room with my phone on top of a laptop on top of sand. Not an advanced set. But I see some of the other motherfuckers who do these vertical streams. I appreciate you being here, Forbidden Roy. I'm streaming from my phone, so it may look a little different. But because these vertical streams they treat a little bit differently. They treat them closer to shorts. So sometimes I get more people. People sub. It's formatted like a TikTok. Yeah. So you scroll, you doom scroll, and you find a stream. It is, basically it's formatted exactly like a TikTok. Because that's what YouTube wants to be. YouTube wants to be TikTok. It doesn't want to be YouTube. It wants to be TikTok and Twitch. Your first time seeing this style? Yeah. Yeah, I've done a few streams like this. But if you're not scrolling, you may not catch it. And only God knows they're going to show notifications. Because they barely do with the other format. But yeah, I'm streaming off my phone, so it's a little different. I should be charging this shit too. I didn't even realize it. Hold on. I'm trying to get the cord. Oh, fuck. Where is it? Gotta go. Yeah, it's been good talking to you. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but feel free to. It's just Vigilante Williamson. You should find me. Ain't too many of us. No, I think I'm the only one. Better be the only one. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this damn cord. All right. So I can charge this phone. All right, peace out, Gomer. Appreciate you being here. And feel free to, say hi, even if you just lurking. You do follow me. Okay, cool. Pretty cool. Thank you, man. Thank you for being here. We'll still be going for a little bit. It's pretty fun. Pretty fun. I talk about different subjects. Kind of get off the dark ones that everyone else talking about. At the end of the day, it's one big club. We ain't fucking in it, man. So yeah, talking about old games, which I like playing classic games. I like that. I still like the style. I like when new games come out with a classic game. Got to find a documentary to put you to sleep. That's what I wish I would have did. Shit. Instead of streaming myself to sleep. All right, Jam, I appreciate you being here. I hope I can get a few hours of sleep before I got to go to work. See, what time is it? 7:30 right now. Sheesh. By 8, we're going to be done for sure. Maybe we're going another 15 minutes to the half hour. But for sure by 8, we'll be done. I do like streaming classic games, classic shit. There's been a lot made work calls. No, that would suck. That'd be funny, but it would suck. There's been a lot made, or at least something made about how, as far as entertainment goes, there's a huge push for nostalgia. But a lot of that, the past 10 years of entertainment have been so shitty. And across the board, it's not just, movies or TV shows or video. It's all of it. And it's like, man, the only good stuff is old stuff, unfortunately. So it's not like, it's nostalgia out of necessity. You know what I'm saying? It's nostalgia out of necessity because that's like an album title. I'm going to use that. There's no good stuff coming out currently, so we got to go back to the past and try to reimagine the past, even with some of the new material. Like, a lot's been made about the new Hollow Knight, but what is that besides Metroidvania? It's really just, that's all Hollow Knight is. They add their own spin to it and all their own lore and everything. But it's a Metroidvania. It's a old format of video game that a lot of people are excited, rightfully so, on. So it just shows that, like, it's just, like this era of entertainment is kind of failing. It has been for a while. And it's not just some, back in my day, we used to know. There's a notable, the past 7 to 10 years, have been a notable drop off in the consistency and quality of the media we get from corporations. And unfortunately, we as a people are still, we still wait until corporations tell us what to like. That's what we still do, whether it's a movie, a media, we don't listen to it. We don't seek out independent entertainment sources. So we're stuck with the corpos. The corpos don't know what they're doing. Hence, we've got a decade of trash. Hence, people go to the past. People go to the past. So, and there are exceptions, right? There are exceptions in entertainment. Hey, KO Nightmare saying hi, appreciate it. New IP needs creative people, fair enough, and that's true. We need creatives. I don't think they're going to get into the corporate system though, especially with all the gatekeeping. The huge thing is that they don't want actors and actresses no more. They want social media stars. They want people with social media followings. Forbidden Ruin, so your brother recommended Squid Games. Did the jerk off hand movement. You're right, even new books sucks. I'm not keeping up with books. The show hype. Yeah, they hype up these shows. We need non-virtual cinema. We need good entertainment for the entertainment source. Stories that, we need writers to put the story first. To need to stop DEI. I can't even say whether or not, I'm not watching enough entertainment. But like I don't see DEI. You had the bad woman and all that weird shit. I'm not seeing DEI. I'm just seeing bad fucking material. Like, you know, even you look at the Superman and the fucking Fantastic Four from this year, and there's various takes on how much money these movies made and what their budget was. And there were people that like these movies, but I wouldn't blame DEI for these movies being mid or below. Um, I just think they're just shitty. You know what I mean? If people are just shitty. Now, I say that I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with these movies, but yeah, I never liked Tiger King. I thought that was stupid. I just thought it was stupid. Oh man, Picard season 3. I lost a lot of respect for a big YouTuber over that. I couldn't help it. I still got love for him, but there was a lot of respect for a really big YouTuber that you guys may know and love that I still have not been able to get back over Picard season 3. Just that 180 from the other seasons. And it's just like, man, that was not authentic. That was not an authentic take, man. Not an authentic take. But it is what it is. I ain't trying to mess with nobody's money. I ain't trying to mess with nobody's money. But yeah, we're gonna have to be the ones to do it more than likely. They tried playing the first 2 seasons for season 3. I ain't buying that shit. Oh yeah, watch the first 2 seasons. The season 3 makes it all come together. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, same. People couldn't think of a plot for a Blade movie. Like, how hard is it to make Blade? Just put a bunch of vampires and have them kill them. That's all you got to do. You know what I'm saying? It's very easy. Very easy. But I mean, we're in a very bad place with entertainment. It's just a lot of laziness across the board, and just we don't have entertainment made for entertainment's sake. Rather it's politics, rather it's numbers chasing or clout chasing or trend chasing. It's just always some bullshit that's preventing good stories from being told. And hell, even though I was a little critical to DCU, I hope they can at least finish their story before it looks like DC and Warner Brothers is getting sold. So are they even going to get a chance to finish? Is this story even going to play itself out? Or is it going to get mothballed like the Snyder Cut? They've had so much beef on, hey, did you know you're still lurking here? Yeah, they couldn't manage it for play, yeah. But they had so much beef with this Snyder versus James Gunn garbage that James Gunn might end up in the same boat because they got new ownership. Where it's like, oh, well, you're not going to finish your story either. And it's like, man, you keep creating these universes and not even fucking finishing them off. And Picard season 3, that was a weird 1-8. That was I know I'm a conspiracy theorist. I know everybody doesn't, buy in, but I definitely think somebody got a check to give Picard season 3 a favorable view, or at least, if not a direct check, they got something in return. Whether it was access, whether it was what it was. Yeah, it was the sellout moment. That was definitely a sellout moment for me as a fan of that content creator, which I'm not gonna name. I know some of y'all know. We'll just leave it alone. Much larger content creator. I wasn't gonna name him. I wasn't gonna name him. I'm not going. Says one person that got the files first. I respect the hustle. But it is what it is. They did it. You know what I'm saying? Like they did this shit. I'm not gonna name him. But the fact that you did is cool. I'm not hating him. I don't hate him. It's I get it. It's a hustle. It's a business, and they made it about business that day, or that whole situation. I mean, because now that going back, that's now a couple years ago. That was their business. I ain't got no hate for them, but that was the sellout moment for sure. So the only thing you like in Picard was to kill a Tribble. They caught Campy a shield and did themselves and sold the fuck out. The first 10 seconds of the episode was season 1. Yeah, that whole Picard fiasco. Isn't it crazy that even happened? That almost feels like lost media now to me really think about it. They got 3 seasons of that fucking show. What the fuck was that? Sheer fucking hubris of getting that show 3 seasons of that. Because I remember that shit. Oh, man. It's like, what a waste of IP. And you know what? Now that I think about it, just talking about DC getting sold. They getting sold to Paramount. Look what Paramount did with that. And now they gonna fuck up DC too. And Warner Brothers too. The one where they all cry got a full 5-season run. Discovery. Oh shit, I forgot all about Discovery. Golly. Man, I forgot all about. I wish Wes was here because he was a Star Trek dude. Man, I forgot about some of that Star Trek shit. It got worse than that. Golly, they totally ruined that fucking property. They ruined that property, did. So I didn't see this Alien show ruined that a lot of people did, and I saw mixed reviews on it. I did last Alien thing I saw. They made a movie recently, and that was a disappointment. That was a real wasted opportunity. Now, there were cool elements of that movie, but it just was very undercooked. I can't think of what that Alien movie that came out was. It last year or this year? It had a little bit more zoomers in it. That weird thing at the end was fucking crazy though. That was kind of a cool payoff visually. You thought that maybe this would be a little bit more of the horror of the original, and it didn't quite go there. It didn't quite go far enough to get there. It felt, certain things felt really cool. Like I can't remember what the hell that last hybrid creature was. That was sick. But other things felt melded in. What the fuck was that Alien movie? Romulus, I think it was. They fired the dog in season 1. Yeah, I think it was called Romulus. That I felt like that was a missed opportunity. That should have been more. I didn't hate it though. I did like it, but they really could have made that into something. That could have been a nice reboot, reimagining of the series if they would have done that well. If they would have really put their fucking foot in it, as they say, they could have really made something a lot better. Instead, they got something that, while not terrible, and gives you some of what you liked about some of the older ones, it really wasn't. It was undercooked, like I said. Just felt undercooked. Felt like I don't know. Maybe the budget wasn't right for that. Oh, you hated the last 10 minutes. That was one of my favorite parts. The last 10 minutes. But the rest of it was okay. So never go full retarded aliens. If these fucking weirdos are gonna make humans a imitation of an ectomorph or a xenomorph, I'm gonna hate it. Yeah, that is what that was. It was just it was a crazy looking creature. The look of it was pretty cool. But yeah, that was like what the fuck. Of course, let's not forget how many days since simulation signed in the Borg cube. Yeah, the practical work was amazing. There was a lot of cool visual stuff in Romulus. That part human xenomorph thing, which I get why you might have issues with it, but visually it was something to see. It was so creepy, it was so disgusting. And you so rarely get that. You know, it almost puts me in mind of something like The Fly or some that '80s body horror. It's like, oh man, this is like sick. This is sick. So it's kind of cool to see that '80s/90s practical body horror for that, and for other elements of it. God, I wish Romulus was this close to being like something that would have got that could have helped resurrect the franchise. Instead, it was just another decent. Could have been. Hey, it could have been worse. It wasn't. We were just talking about something like Picard. It definitely wasn't that. It definitely wasn't this. Albatross hanging on the franchise. But instead, it's just kind of a nothing burger where a decently enjoyable but not too weighty contribution. Where if they would have put just a little bit more effort, that could have been a real difference maker in the franchise. Just didn't watch Romulus. Really cool elements of the show, more in the first half. Well, not I keep wondering. They're trying to do everything as a show. Like I don't know if everything needs to be a show. There's the film format is one format, TV is another, and while there's a lot of similarities, and we're in this era of very cinematic type TV, there is differences. So yeah, I don't know. There are differences, and I think maybe they're doing too many things as TV shows, and I get that because streaming is the biggest property right now. And honestly, of all the pieces of entertainment we're talking about, streaming is the best received, and usually some of the better material is going to come from streaming. And the modern TV stuff. So it's probably the most viable for a lot of content owners and IP owners. Instead of making a movie, you don't know how much money you're going to make. You put together something a little bit smaller budget. You film for a few, maybe a little bit longer, but then you get whatever it is. You only need 5 hours to make a season now. You put together a 5-episode season every 3 years, you're a viable series. So it's especially when self-preservation is part of the game, it's a much more viable way of getting stories out than the film system where you got to make a certain amount of money back. People are going to the movies less and less. Most people are just staying at home watching streaming, if anything, or watching assholes do radio or do morning shows. Whatever it is. I understand. I'm saying all that to say I understand why they do more streaming shows, why you get more shows than movies. I think I'm starting to tire. I'll read you guys' comments, and then we'll probably get out of here. Get out of here. Quit show. Went stupid like everything, unfortunately. Drunk Supergirl is a dumb idea. I don't even understand who wants this. I've had my rants about James Gunn. I know Zack Snyder wasn't perfect, and I'm not even saying he was the right guy for the job. I was okay with them getting rid of Zack Snyder, but I have not been okay with them bringing on James Gunn. I still don't think that Superman movie was a success. They're going to play like it was. Okay, whatever. He's got a weird sense of humor. He's a sick fuck. If you look at those fucking old tweets, lots of sick shit. That's not just jokes. It was real sick shit. He's got this weird sophomoric, lens. All Supergirl's all drunk, and the orgy scenes at the fucking Peacemaker show. He's just not the guy. DC picked the wrong fucking guy, but they got to deal with this asshole now. He is a creep. He's a weirdo. He's a fucking weirdo, but he's their weirdo, and they got to fucking deal with him. You don't watch hardly any shows unless people tell you it's worth it. That's your own pick, fair enough. People are really saying Supergirl has no purpose, so she drinks. Yeah, it's so stupid. Yeah, Superman can't be everywhere at once. Give her the other half of the globe, protect for evil, right? That would be a good plot treat. She's protecting like the EU and shit like that. That would be interesting. But yeah, I think the reason I thought the reason, and I just saw this in passing, was in the comics she's older than him, but like I think she kind of gets frozen or something like that. Like she's like a teenager when they leave Krypton, and she's frozen, so she stays in that teenage state. But she basically grew up on Krypton, so she saw her going through the destruction of Krypton is totally different because it was like she lost her planet. He was just a kid. He was a baby. He didn't know any better. So it's from the trauma of Krypton exploding. Now the only other thing is, and I don't know if they're going to retcon it or what. James Gunn introduced the idea that they were supposed to colonize Earth, and that they sent to Earth and they were supposed to colonize Earth. So they send the cousins to colonize Earth on some cousin fucking type shit. Was that supposed to be a thing? Which that's sick as fuck if it was. But like they got to clarify whether or not the Kryptonians were trying to take over Earth or not. Especially in Supergirl, we'll see. They said there's been mixed messages, or rather, Lex Luthor messed up, because if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, in the Superman movie, they see a video of Kal-El of Krypton, aka Clark Kent, aka Superman's parents, and they're talking about taking over Earth. They sent Kal-El there to take over Earth. What is up in the air, at least at this moment, is whether or not, because I didn't see the whole movie. I think they did. I've seen enough clips to basically have seen the movie, but I didn't see the whole movie. I could have sworn there was a scene where they said it was real. I don't know, but whether or not that scene was, whether or not Lex Luthor edited it and did like an AI deep fake of that, or that was really what their message was, that's kind of up for debate. Storyline wise, I really think it was intended to be their message, but because of the pushback, they've made it a little bit more ambiguous, or argue that it's ambiguous. So we will see how that goes later. Jobless Jimmy Kimmel's wild work. Hey, Jobless. Jimmy Blackface Kimmel. Yeah, I did. I saw he lost his job. I saw that. Let's see. Tree Rock could have got flashbacks of Krypton from Supergirl memory. Yeah. Think of the story, Krypton stories from Supergirl's stories, memory, and dream. Blackface was in it. Marty McFly. Holy shit. The Marty McFly? Is this your older iteration? You got to go back to 1985? How does that work? Appreciate you being here. Hopefully you got enough fuel to get the DeLorean to whatever time you need to get to. Never thought there would be a day where Disney ordered somebody to apologize and then fired them for saying no. Well, it was really that I will say, I think it was the Sinclair or one of like the affiliate, because the network system, if you own the local networks, so there's a company, I think it was the company Sinclair, they own all the local networks, the local affiliates for ABC. So it was really their call more than Disney. Disney just Disney just cracked under the pressure, so to speak. But the pressure was really coming from, as far as to apologize, at least corporate wise, was coming from the affiliates and the company that owns all the affiliates. And once they didn't, then they were talking about not carrying ABC. They were talking about a lot of shit. So Disney got spooked and let them go. But listen, I'm just you double check, y'all double check anything I say, because I don't want to steer y'all wrong. But I believe it was not Disney. So yes, sir, it is what it is. Time stretches in the future, fair enough. Time stretches in the future. But yeah. Shout out to the 85 DeLorean. Shout out to the Back to the Future. And shout out to the creators of Back to the Future now allowing that to get remade. I see that they're gonna do a Spaceballs too. 40 years plus, almost 50 years after the fact. Do we need? You know, I don't want to see this generation fuck up Spaceballs because that's a really good movie and it's singular and that's it. So if you fuck that up, a lot of times they just make these franchises seem so much more mid. Like, oh, let's do a shitty. I thought that about the Ghostbusters, even when they got rid of the feminist one. They made the feminist one, nobody liked it. But then they made the other one. It's like, you know what? We didn't need this one either. The first two Ghostbusters exist. Then they got that game. That's enough. That's enough for the Lord to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't keep doing Spaceballs and not Space Ovaries. But don't keep these franchises going on forever. Let them breathe. Let them be what they are. Sinclair, yeah, they're the ones passing the scripts to these stations. Makes sense how easily it's done. Yeah, they are. Never thought Disney World would destroy half of the Magic Kingdom, but have they? I have not been paying attention. Have they destroyed the Magic Kingdom? I know there's been a lot of talk about the Disney adults phenomenon where Disney is getting a lot of its money in the park from people, basically my age, no kids, going there for the Disney experience. A lot of that's pushed by Instagram. But, spending top dollar for all that bullshit, which I never do. And just because they love Disney so much. But families aren't going as much, which is a weird phenomenon. So they're starting to cater to the Disney adults and put more adult-oriented stuff, more bars, more club. Apparently, they didn't even want liquor in Disney World for the longest, but they that's no longer a thing for years now. So that's a weird thing. They took down more than half of the Magic Kingdom for virtue saving. That's crazy. That's crazy. But on that bombshell, I think it's time to end. I said around 8 o'clock. We got 2 hours, 1 hour no mask, 1 hour with mask. We got more love with the mask. I'll try to have to stream with masks from Space Mountain. Space Mountain got taken down? I thought something else got taken down. I remember Space Mountain. That's crazy. It is what it is. It is a T surgery experience. I hope that's a joke. But who the fuck knows in this day and age? In any event, I appreciate all y'all being here. If you like the video, please like the video. If you're so obliged to share, subscribe, please do that. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Good night and God bless. Yeah, what the fuck? Oh my God. What was the mountain that they got rid of before we go? Hey, Raquel, long time no see. That's just sad Disney for all, not just adults. Yeah, they're starting to go towards this Disney adult phenomenon. The Disney California mountain ride they took out. It's on the tip of my tongue. I remember. But yeah, that's something I'm seeing. And listen, I'm not knocking the Disney adult phenomenon. I just showed a bunch of action figures. I get it. I'm in a fucking mask now. What the fuck? I get it. People holding on to their childhood, but you gotta, Disney's supposed to be family oriented, especially the mainline Disney stuff. I know they own all these properties, but it's supposed to be family oriented. And just, goodness gracious, we're getting to a point, man, and I'll say this before I get out. As far as family oriented, we need more family oriented entertainment. I just think everything is just too fucking extreme. It's okay to have things a little less graphic and grounded in realism and grounded and moody. Can we just have something positive and happy and simple? There's no shame in simple, positive, and even a little bit of cliche. Something like F1 F1 is probably my favorite movie I've seen this year, and because it was just fucking simple. Have a Disney adult friend. Didn't know until last week. I see. Yeah, that'll never be my thing. I mean, I still buddy on dumb shit too, so I'm not knocking them. But just, fuck Disney. In any event, we're going to get out of here. I appreciate all you guys being here. Sorry Carrie came so late. That's what she said. Hopefully we can catch one of these streams at a different time. Maybe I'll do the morning thing more often. We'll see. All right. If you like the video, please like the video. If you're so obliged to share and subscribe, please do that. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Good night. God bless. I'll talk to all you guys and gals and they, them later. Peace.